Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And until you understand that, you're gonna keep getting your own way. I've done it before, bro. I would go to my job and treat it like BS, and then I would go to my business and then try to treat it better, but I ended up treating it like BS because I'm not treating my job like good stuff. So learn how to treat one thing like you treat everything, bro. What's up, y'all? It's Shannon, and today we're going to set the standard, bro. Listen, I want to come at y'all with a good video today. Drink y'all's water. That's gonna be one tip right now. The first tip of the video is drink y'all's water, bro. If you can't get a gallon a day, try harder, bro. So listen, man. The topic of today's video is about young men going into manhood. You know, I'm only 19, 20. I turn 20 pretty soon. You know, but there's been a lot of things that I've learned from the ages of 12 all the way up until 20 years old, basically. In an 8-year span, I've learned so much because I've went through so much, and I've experienced a lot more than most people have experienced. You got to understand, most people haven't experienced some of the things that I've experienced. You know, when I was, 12, 13, 14-ish, I was a rapper. I was a local rapper. You know, my group and the dudes that we was rolling with and all that stuff, we were so popular. You know, we were so popular. Some of the songs we had were hitting like 50,000 views. The YouTube videos were popping. They were official YouTube videos. They weren't none of that homemade bullshit on the iPhone. They were official. You know, we was the most popular kids in school. We was the most popular rappers in the city, and probably still to this day pretty close to that as well. So we was experiencing that stuff. I experienced at a young age that, people are going to choose, people are going to choose who they hang around. Women are going to choose who they're with. People don't really care about you. They just care about what you got and who you're around and what you can do for them. And, you're popping, so they got to be around you. People feel like they need to leech off you because you're about to blow or some shit. And I'm sure some of you guys out there may have felt this before. Some of the people out there that you've been around have probably been in that predicament as well. Some people are NBA players or aspiring NFL stars or aspiring actors or whatever it is. And, y'all got people around you because they think you're about to blow. They're looking at the little firecracker on the ground and it's intriguing to them because it's about to blow. But, you ever light a firecracker and throw it, and it's like a malfunctioning firecracker or a malfunctioning firework, and you throw it and it doesn't blow up? So you're like, man, that was lame. That wasn't cool. I was expecting that to do a lot more than it really just did. That was supposed to blow up and do something crazy and make me happy. And when you don't do certain things for people, that's how they act towards you. You're that malfunctioning firework or whatever. That was just a little example, but I want to get into boys going into manhood, man. This is for the young men. I've experienced so much at a young age, and a lot of men haven't. So once you're going into that manhood stage, maybe you don't have a father figure to teach us or something, whatever, but when you're going into that manhood stage, you got to understand, bro, most people don't give a fuck about you, bro. Excuse my language, but most people really don't care, bro. Your boss doesn't care that your mom just died. Your boss doesn't care that your girlfriend's cheating on you. Your boss doesn't care that you're going through personal, financial, and family issues. Your boss doesn't care, bro. You got to understand that. Your acquaintances don't care. Your friends that you call so-called, best friends and all this stuff, they don't care. The girls that you're Snapchatting and trying to Instagram and trying to game up, they don't care. They don't give a fuck. The people that you're trying to make money off of don't care. The business owner people that you're trying to be friends with and stuff, they don't care that you're trying to run it up in life. They don't care. The job opportunities that you have, you try to go to this interview and you try to be the best you can be. You try to present yourself the best you can, and they still deny you. It's because they don't care. It's because you're not the right option. It's because they don't want you. And you got to understand that, bro. You got to get smacked in the face because nobody really cares. Nobody cares that you're on your last dollar. Nobody cares that you're about to break. Nobody cares that you're on your last mental health, you're about to blow. Nobody cares that you're having problems mentally. Nobody cares that your father just died. Nobody cares. You're just an extra number, bro. And yeah, there's some people in your life who are going to care about you. But this is to the young men growing up, and they think the world is just so sweet. Bro, the world ain't sweet, man. Nobody really cares, bro. When you go to that job, they don't give a fuck what you got going on as long as you're there. As long as you're an extra number in the system who is putting in the work, getting the numbers done, all this stuff, doing what they need to do in their occupation, that's all that matters. I'm going to give y'all an example. I'm going to give y'all a little, story time. I was working at a warehouse, bro. And it was like my first month working there. And I had a good resume. I showed up on time. I showed up extra early to all the interviews. I was like 30 minutes early, an hour early. All the supervisors and stuff, they were fumbling around the warehouse and all this stuff. And I was, sitting in the office for a while, waiting on them and all this. So I'm sitting in there waiting, and I'm doing all this stuff. I'm showing up right. I'm doing all the things I need to do to get this job and show that I'm a good candidate. And, I'm in shape. I'm working out all the time. So I'm a good candidate for a job like that because it's very physically demanding. And I'm in there. I'm doing what I need to do. And I'm about a month in. I'm a month into this warehouse job, man. And I'm doing good. I'm doing cool. Everything's going fine. But I get sick. I get the flu or some crazy shit where I'm sick for like a week, bro. I was sick as a dog. I was in bed just, hating my life, man. I was sick. And I called in. I'm like, hey, man, I know it's my first month. I really apologize, but I'm like actually sick. If I come in, I'm just going to be a liability to the company. I don't want to do that to y'all. I don't want to get anybody sick. If I can get a doctor's note or whatever I need to do, I got you. I'll go get a doctor's note. I'll bring it in. He was like, we don't do doctor's notes. We're going to put a point on your little thing for every day you miss, and they'll double each day. So, if you miss this whole week, you're fired. And I was like, damn. And that was one of the biggest moments in my life, at that time, that really showed me that the world ain't sweet. In my head, I was thinking, yeah, they'll understand that I'm sick. They'll understand that I'm struggling. They'll understand that, what I got going on. But they didn't. They didn't care. They didn't care that I was, sick, laying in bed. I was scared that I may have COVID and I might have to go to the hospital. They wasn't caring, bro. They didn't care. They didn't care about that. They was like, okay, point for you. You get 5 points, you're fired. And then the second day, you get an extra 2 points. So 2 days is 3 points. I think it was like 4 days and you're fired or some shit. I had put in so much work to get this job. I had been a good candidate. I had showed up early. I did all the things I need to do. I even told them I would get a doctor's note. Like I'm in school or some shit. And I didn't even get the benefit of the doubt. And in your head, you're probably thinking, man, I've done the same thing. It's because you have. And all the young guys coming up are going to think about this. They're going to be like, yeah, man, I got stuff going on. I got family issues. They'll understand. They're not going to understand because it doesn't matter to them. They need to get their books right. They need to get the money coming in. They need a person to fulfill the job and fulfill the role every single day, or they'll get backed up. They're not going to care about what you got going on. They don't care if it's your mother's funeral. They don't care if it's your aunt's funeral, your grandma's funeral. They don't care. Show up on time and get the work done. Another thing about the warehouse. When I was working at this warehouse, man, there was a supervisor in there that would always get on my ass, bro. He would always get on me, though. Like, every single time I was in there, he would get on me about something ridiculous. So I'd be in there, and I would show up like 2 minutes late. I'd walk in the door like literally 2 minutes late, maybe. And, I walk in, I think it would be between 2 and 5 minutes. I would show up a couple minutes late sometimes because you got to scan in and you got to walk like a mile all the way up to the thing. And, I would pull in and I'd walk the mile, get all the way up there, and I'd come in a few minutes late. And, that is my fault in retrospect. but I show up late, and he'd always give me a hard time about it. He'd be like, hey man, it's gonna be a half a point if you keep doing that. Hey man, you gotta stop showing up late. You can't be doing that. And he'd always be doing that. But you know what the funny thing is he would show up like 20, 30 minutes late. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy that, you know, the world works like this, but the world doesn't work in your favor. The world will never work in your favor, bro. And that's what you got to understand. The world only works in your favor when you bend it at your will, when you become powerful, when you have, you know, positions in life, when you've made a way for your life, when you've made a way for people around you. But as long as you're a number for another company, that's never going to change. So, you know, you're probably like, man, this dude's ranting, this dude's going crazy. He's talking about a whole bunch of random stuff. What are you talking about, Shannon? Man, the thing is don't come into the real world thinking shit's sweet. You know, when you're in high school and you're, you know, in middle school and even in college, bro, when you're in these years of your life, you're like, oh man, like, life is easy. You ain't gotta pay bills. You're probably with your parents. You're probably, you know, in a dorm. Your parents are funding it. You're just chilling. Maybe you're a college student partying and stuff like this. You know, when you're in college and when you're in high school and all this stuff, you don't have a lot of things you need to get done. You don't have a lot of occupations. You don't have a lot of people relying on you. You don't have, you know, bills. You don't have car notes and car insurance and phone bills. You don't have none of that. But once you get into the real world, all that hits you fast, bro. It hits you quick. And you go looking over here, nobody's by your side. You go looking over there, nobody's by your side, bro. The dudes that you thought was your homies, the same ones you grew up with and all this stuff, man, they aren't gonna help you at all. As soon as they see you struggling, they're going to flake on your ass. And it's happened to me. It's happened to probably a million other people. So I wouldn't doubt it if it's gonna happen to you. People are weird. People don't really care about you, and the world is going to be harsh. Does this mean that, you know, the world is a terrible place? Everybody is terrible people? No, but the world is a harsh place, especially when you're going through this journey of becoming a better man, an entrepreneur, a business owner. You're trying to get out of the damn rat race. You're trying to make a way for yourself. You're trying to build a life for you and your family. It is a fight to the death. It is a fight to the death. It's like they're releasing you in the lion's den. It's like releasing you in the lion's den, man. And you got to understand that you got to come out on top. That lion can't kill you. You got to come out on top. You got to be stronger up here. You got to be stronger in here. You got to have that integrity. You got to have that willpower. You got to have that discipline to just keep going no matter what. Because people are going to be weird. The jobs aren't going to give you any leeway. The girls are going to play you. You know, the world isn't going to be fair. You may put 10 racks into a business and it fails and you lose it all. That may be just your lifestyle. That may happen in your life. You may put a lot of time into a friendship, a relationship, a business partnership, a family, and it may not pay off at all. The friend might flake on you. He might steal from you. He might, you know, be fake. He may be a leech. The girl, she may cheat on you. She may go to the next dude. The business partner may finesse you. Things happen because the world isn't always so nice. But what you gotta do, and the lesson of this video is you gotta just go hard and move forward through that. You gotta completely just not even see it. You gotta be in tunnel vision that you're just blowing straight through it. You gotta blow through all the bullshit, man. You gotta just keep going. You gotta keep going, because as soon as you look here and you're like, oh man, that's sad, man. I wish they cared about me. And then you look over here and you're like, oh, dude, I just wish that, you know, somebody would understand me. And then you look over here and then you're like, please, can you give me a chance? And then you look over there and you're like, please, can you give me a chance? You're going to be stuck. You're going to be right here in the same position. Because nobody cares about giving you a chance. Nobody cares about making you rich. Nobody cares about you getting in shape. Nobody cares about you having a good relationship. Nobody cares about your good marriage. Nobody cares about your relationship with God. Nobody cares about your emotional damage that you've went through in life. Nobody cares about the trauma. Nobody cares. So you got to keep moving forward. But as you're moving forward, don't get in the way of yourself. Don't let your ego be so attached to yourself that you can't even move forward either. That's another thing is, you know, we think that we should just be given things. We think that, you know, people, we're deserving of people's attention and deserving of people's, you know, love and gratitude. We're not. Get out of your own way, bro. Get out of your own way. That's another thing. It's like you feel like, oh, you know, I'm too good for this job. I'm too good for, you know, that girl. I'm too good to, you know, go back to level 1, working 9 to 5, stack my cake up, invest into a business and move forward. You think you're too good for that. But bro, you can't be 30 years old chasing a dream, being broke as hell on the street. That don't make no sense. You got to be 30 years old with that 9 to 5 stacking you some money, and then you got to be investing that money. You understand what I'm saying, man? You can't come out here being so egotistical, bro, because, you know, some of the things that I did that ruined me was being so egotistical in the beginning. You know, when I was 18, 17, 16, 15, I was egotistical, bro. I was like, man, I don't need a job. One of the biggest mistakes I made when I was younger was being a little bit too egotistical about, you know, jobs and you know, being a certain role. I was like, man, I don't gotta show up on time. I don't gotta show up on time. They ain't worth my time. I would show up late. Man, I don't gotta do my job when I'm at this job. I don't gotta bag these groceries. I'm gonna do what I wanna do. And you know, I was always a hard worker, but I didn't take it seriously because it wasn't my business. I didn't take it seriously because, you know, I didn't respect it. But a big lesson that I've learned is that even if it's not your business, even if it's not, you know, your company, even if it's not your endeavor, that doesn't matter. You got to treat one thing like you treat everything, and you got to treat everything like you got to treat one thing. You can't just walk into a job and nonchalantly walk around and BS the whole day and act like you're cool guy over here. You got to walk in and treat it as if it's your business. You wouldn't walk into your business and start scrolling on social media and stuff, would you? No, you wouldn't. No, you'd walk into your business and be like, hey man, you know, are we good on all the inspections? Like, if the inspector comes in, we don't want to be messing things up. So let's make sure this is clean, that's clean. Let's make sure, you know, we're not blocking any exits. Let's make sure, you know, the fire alarm's good. Okay, cool. How many customers we got today? Cool, great. You know, we getting good ratings on Google and everything. Cool. Okay, how are all the machines operating? They good? Okay, let me go check them. Write them down the clipboard. Check. You know, checking everything off. Or you on a truck or something. Oh, okay, let me do my little walk around on my truck. Okay, that's cool. You know, instead of just walking in, I'm gonna scroll on social media. I'm gonna scroll over here. I'm gonna look at her. I'm gonna look at him. I'm gonna talk trash all day. You know, that ain't a boss, bro. A boss moves like a boss in all realms. If you can take anything from this video is, you know, people are not looking out for your best interest most of the time, bro. When you're getting into this real world, you gotta be, you know, every man for himself type thing, man. Especially in the entrepreneurship race and, you know, the thing they call the rat race. I don't really like to say that, but, you know, in this form of life that we're in, when we're hustling and all that, it's a cutthroat game, bro. So it's you versus you. You gotta really focus on yourself. You really gotta build yourself. Don't worry about him giving you praises. Don't worry about her giving you praises. Don't worry about him giving you a pass or her giving you a pass. Don't worry about the manager, you know, treating you the way you want to be treated. Don't worry about none of that, bro. Don't worry about your girl treating you the exact way you want to be treated. Don't worry about your friends not faking you and snaking you. Don't worry about all that. Focus on what you got going on. Focus on that bread, bro. Focus on getting to the bag. Because none of that gets you to the bag. All that does is feed your ego. All that does is feed your anger. That doesn't do anything for you. Let's focus on getting healthy. Let's focus on getting to the bag. Let's focus on getting the right, family circle going on. Let's focus on getting, our skin clear. Let's focus on getting in shape. Let's focus on getting outside, connecting with nature, connecting with God. Let's focus on that, bro. Stop worrying about people giving you a pass. Stop thinking your boss is going to give you a pass. It's not fair out here, bro. It's not fair. It's not fair. It'll be fair once you have a business and you can make your own hours up. But until then, it's not going to be fair. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, don't be so egotistical. Don't get in your way so much. Live below your means, bro. You don't got to eat out all the time. You don't got to buy new clothes all the time. You don't got to, have the newest car. You don't got to have new jewelry all the time. Shopping on GLD just because a motherfucker has a code on YouTube. You don't need that. You don't got to have the brand new phone if you ain't going to use it for YouTube or business or this or that. You don't have to have it. You don't have to have the new Nintendo Switch 2 just because that motherfucker came out and has Mario on it. It don't matter, bro. It don't matter. Don't worry about all that. You don't gotta be, the highest level employee to treat the business correct. You don't have to be a business owner to treat the business correct. You can be an employee and still do your job as if you are the business owner. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. And until you understand that, you're gonna keep getting in your own way. I've done it before, bro. I would go to my job and treat it like BS, and then I would go to my business and then try to treat it better, but I ended up treating it like BS because I'm not treating my job like good stuff. So learn how to treat one thing like you treat everything, bro. If I'm going to the gym and putting in hella work and I'm making sure that I'm grinding and doing what I need to do the same thing at my job. And as I'm grinding at my job, respecting the boss, respecting customers, putting in the work that I need to put in, I'm gonna do the same thing for my business. And then I'm going to do the same thing for my relationship with my girl. And I'm doing the same thing for my relationship with my family. And if you got kids, do the same thing for your kids. It's not how you just do one thing. I'm not just going to go to the gym, put all the work in, then I'm going to go to my job and slouch off and fuck off all day. No. Do one thing how you do everything and don't get in your own way, bro. I love y'all and I'll see you on the next video.